Hello, I'm Beth and today we are going to make stained glass light jars. All I have with me, we have tissue paper, PVA glue mixed with water, about 1 part PVA, 2 parts water, and then I have some glass jars. Now I have some old IKEA glass jars, but you could use old jam jars, anything really that at the end of it you can put a light inside. If you're working with elderly or with young people, pre-cut your tissue paper. Tissue paper, even though it's easy to cut, can actually be quite fiddly because it's very fine. So you can pre-cut your tissue paper ready for the workshop. Have your PVA and water mixed. Have 2 brushes. I'll explain why later. And the next part really is to get gluing. So you watch me. Use your hand to hold the jar at the top, and that will give you some purchase. And with your first brush, you are taking the water and PVA mix and applying it to the surface of the jar. Just like that. Now, we're going to start with the darkest colour, and it's going to be a gradient of colour working its way up the jar. So I'm starting with the dark green at the bottom. Now the trick with tissue paper is that it does break very easy, so be very gentle with it and then apply a coat over the top. You'll see, just like that. Okay? Now we're going to do that all the way around at speed. Again. If you're working with elderly or those that may not be able to hold up the jar, you could hold the jar for them and they can apply the PVA mix with the brush. Now, I have an idea of what I'd like to create, but it doesn't have to have a plan. You can take coloured tissue paper and make it a rainbow of colour. The effect's going to be the same at the end. So, work my way around. Okay. Keep going round. When you're working on a curved surface, it's easier to have smaller pieces or cut pieces that you can gently push around. If it's a large piece, you're going to get far more bumps and there's more potential that it might rip. So you want to keep it smaller pieces so it will fit around the surface. There we go. I do a number of workshops with tissue paper, as do many artists, for the reason that it's bright, it's colourful, and it can be applied to most surfaces. People call that decoupage. You could decorate a tabletop, a box, a treasure chest for a kid. But what we're doing today is because we're applying it to a transparent surface, the idea is that you'll get a beautifully bright glow of colour when you put the tea light inside. So I've done my first layer of the green. You can see it gets a bit drippy. You see, that doesn't matter. We're going to be covering the whole surface, so don't worry. You may want to put some newspaper down or protective sheet for your desk or tabletop, whatever you're working on, but it's not going to stain. There we go. So, when you work with tissue paper, the more layers you put on, the better. And I'll show you why. You can see. As you're building up the layers, you get this lovely depth of colour where you're overlapping the tissue paper. And the more you do that, the more glorious it becomes. So I'm going to keep going with the green. Now, like I say, I have a plan. I'm creating my green base for a landscape, and I'm going to be working slowly up into the blue. But there doesn't have to be a plan. You could do this randomly with cubes or lots of colours. So I've got hundreds of pieces of tissue paper. You could cover this and it wouldn't matter. It would still be lovely. So here we go. So I'm going to take some blue. You can see some blue now. So again, we're applying it. We don't want it completely sodden, so you don't have to go overboard with the water and PVA, because the tissue paper is so fine that it's going to apply really easily. Here we go. You see, we're starting to build up. Now, is your hands getting sore? Just take a wee break. If not, keep going. Oh, there's two there. Gently peel up. There we go. Now, my tissue paper was pre-cut circles before, which is quite lucky because it gives me a scallop top. Now, if you don't have that, you can, like I say, pre-cut that from your square tissue paper if you've got square tissue paper. I'm going to show you. So there's a circle, and I've cut them into quarters and halves, which makes it a bit easier. Oh, a bit of rippage there, right there. It doesn't matter though, we're going to use it, nothing's wasted. Another one. And work your way around, have a look, and I'll go, right, we're getting the tones building up. Now, I'm going for a paler blue now. So we have the darker blue, and I'm going to add a paler blue. Again. Put some down here as well. And all the way along. When these are completed, they can be used to put a tea light inside by your bed. You could even put it by your window, out by the front door, in the garden when it's dry. They are easily transformed. Unfortunately, because these are found IKEA jars in the house, I don't have the lids. I'm not sure where they got to, but if you did have lids, you could pop the lid on for outdoors and even try and attach a wee string to hang it. They're relatively heavy though, so it's probably going to be a standy-uppy job rather than a hangy jobby. Ah, that paper's sticking again. Okay, bear with me. It's kind of quite a beautiful peacock look actually, with the blues blending together. You see? Slowly getting that blues in. Next, pink. So, where are we? Let's get my pinks. Here we go. Again. Now, my arm's getting slightly tired, so like I say, if you're working with young people or elderly and they want to hold the jar, make sure you're offering them a break. Say, put it down or have a look at it, enjoy it, because it'll be coming together now. And like I say, because I've used the circles and I've got the scalloped tops, I'm not going to go completely to the top of the jar. I'll allow that skyline to kind of disappear with the pink. So I'm going to put the last one on, I think about there. And we have the start of our jar. Oops, it's dripping a wee bit. Now it will. Can you see? I'm going to do a bit of a Blue Peter moment now and show you one I did earlier as this one is drying. Okay? I'm back. Right. So earlier I did create one just for yourselves. What I did after it had dried, I added a bottom. So I took the green and put it onto the bottom of the jar as well, and that contains the light. And you can see how the green and the blue and the pink have blended in together as it's dried. What I then started was some decoration. Can you see that? So after it's slightly dry, you don't want to do it as it's sopping wet because all the colours will blend with your brush. You can then add, whether it's a flower or this is a start like a sunburst coming through here on top. Okay? I think the next bit is to show you what it looks like with the light inside. So bear with me. Let me find. I found this. It's actually part of one of my children's toys. It's a flashing light. Bear with me. Ooh. Can you see? Now, you could use a tea light, a candle. This one's flashing, but you could place this on your bedside. It could be a child's nightlight. It could be placed on your windowsill. It's very simple, it's fun, and I hope you've enjoyed the workshop. Thank you.